Well, we don't actually know whether or not this is going to be the case. We did make some predictions on what shows are most likely safe and what shows probably might not be after the 2022, 2023 season. This is probably going to bother some people, but if we're thinking about where this network is headed, some of these shows may not stick around. So, gonna kick it off with All American. I think personally it's going to be final season for a season 6, and I say that because it's a veteran show, and it's part of the previous era, and it already has a spinoff.
I could see that. Or maybe 2 more seasons. I don't know.
Yeah, because they have, what are we on,
It's
5?
aging, so
It is aging, and they're in college, and that's not to say that they might not do all of the college years, but in this era of television, things aren't really surviving past like season 5, um, unless they're procedural. So I don't know. Then there's All American Homecoming, which I think it's a little in trouble based on its ratings from last season and based on the direction that Nexstar wants to take the CW. But I'm hopeful that they got the Netflix bump, which means that by the time they premiere behind their parent show in October, the viewership should go up, especially if CW is back in the promoting game.
hmm. Yeah, and the fact that it was the only one. It wasn't part of the early renewals because it was still on at the time, but it was the only other show that got renewed when all the rest of them got cancelled. So either that's a really good thing for it or a really bad thing for it, because A, it means they have a lot of faith in the show, or B, it means there's a ton of pressure on it to succeed this time around. So that might mean that the slight faltering it will be under the biggest spotlight. But at the same time, look at how Riverdale's ratings improved from seasons 1 to 2 when it got that Netflix bump. So fingers crossed, All American Homecoming would go the same route.
Yeah, so I really love that show and I'd like it to stay on. And it's one of the only college dramas. I mean, All American turned into a college drama, but it started in high school. So I hope it sticks around. I hope it does get the Netflix bump. Michael, you will get the final decision on DC's Stargirl. So what do you think?
This is a tricky one because I feel like there's a lot working against Stargirl at the moment. Because from what we got about Nexstar CW, it's that they won't be producing teen shows and they won't be producing expensive shows. And even though Stargirl is far from a teen drama and one of the highest quality shows on the CW, it is essentially an expensive show about teenagers. So that kind of feels like a big red light for Stargirl. And at the same time, is it's not getting a new season produced this season because they decided to hold the previous season that was already filmed that should have aired during the summer. They've decided to hold that for the fall season now, which means the cast have to wait for this show, this season, to be either well received or not so well received by the viewers before they can find out if there's going to get a fourth season. So it's all up in the air for Stargirl at the moment, and there is an awful lot of pressure on it leading the pack because it's the first CW original of the fall. It could work in its favor, but at the same time, it's so out there on its own for such a long time, it might not. I'm literally 50-50 on it because I have faith. I am going to say, hopefully, Stargirl will be renewed, but I can also see the writing on the wall as to why it might not be. So I'm going to enjoy the season as though it's the final season, just in case.
But it sucks that that's like the thing everyone has to do because
I
of the new
know.
era. Um, Gotham Knights, it's too early to tell. We haven't seen a
Mm-hmm.
single thing. It premieres in 2023. If you were to ask the internet, they'd say that it'd get canceled after the first episode. But we are not the internet, and we are more fair uh, to CW shows than they are. I think that because it's gotten bad press, well, not bad press, it's got a bad reputation online, um, that it's going to start off out the gate a little rough. But that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that it's not going to find its feet and find an audience.
Yeah, exactly. Batwoman did the exact same thing. The trailer absolutely destroyed the excitement for it, but people still tuned in, and it got better as the first season went on. And not a single episode was as bad as the trailer suggested it was going to be. So we can all have faith that Gotham Knights will do the same. And even if it's remotely successful, I do feel like it'll come back for a second season. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. We'll wait and say. But just because there wasn't an awful lot working in its favor doesn't mean there won't be come the time that it premieres in 2023.
It's true. We haven't even hit the promo cycle yet. It has
Exactly.
one trailer and a poster, and that is all we've gotten. So buckle up, people. It may actually
Mhm.
be one of your favorite shows on the CW. The trailer isn't suggesting that, but the actual material might. As for Kung Fu, safe. I mean, it was renewed early, and it does well on the network. And they're not a veteran show yet. They're going into season 3, I believe.
Mhm.
So we just hit like junior tier, so it's fine.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's consistent enough, and it seems to line up with what the new CW wants. So I think that should be safe enough. Fingers crossed for it.
Fingers crossed. And then you have Nancy Drew, also safe. Renewed early. It was the wild card. No one expected that one. And a bigger fan base than people realize that it has. Not to mention its IP, well-known IP, and it's doing well. So she's not in danger.
I wonder if she appeals to an older audience as well, and that works in her favor.
She may. I don't know. I mean, I get like watching it. I don't feel like it's too young. It doesn't skew
Mhm.
young. Obviously, they're young adults, but it's not. It's not giving. This is meant for 19-year-olds, and everybody
Mhm.
else is just going to be along for the ride. And Superman and Lois, I'm going to say tentatively safe. And I only say that because it's getting up there. And the situation at Warner Brothers Discovery has me concerned about a Superman show if they bring Henry Cavill back for a Superman movie.
I think that's the only thing that would make me nervous at the moment is at the same time the CW drama has been going on, the HBO Max drama has been going on in the background. It feels like nothing's safe because of that. But at the end of the day, the CW should have final say over this one since it's one of their 2 most successful shows. So provided season 3 stays on the exact same track that seasons 1 and 2 did, and fingers crossed we have no hiatuses to disrupt the ratings. But if all goes well, there's no reason to think that it won't be back for season 4 unless Warner Brothers has something to do with it.
And Warner Brothers should not. Like they
No,
just
stay
focus.
out of the way.
Yes. Don't come for Superman and Lois. At least let us. I think we're going to season 3. I think we should probably worry once we get season 4. Only
Mhm.
just because once you start getting towards a 5th season, that's tends to be when they're kind of done with you when they want to
Yeah.
bring something else in. Um, Walker's safe. Walker's obviously safe. Walker's not going nowhere.
Walker's gonna outlive us all.
Yeah, that's actually one that's a good case for them pushing past the season 5.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's procedural enough. And again, I think that kind of lines up with their new vision for the CW. I could see that go on for a little while yet.
Yeah. And then with Walker Independence, too early to tell,
Mm-hmm.
but it's incredibly different. We'll talk about that in a moment when we talk about what we're watching, but it's different from what the CW is usually given,
Mm-hmm.
which could work in its favor and it could not. We'll see once it starts airing. And then the Winchesters, too early to tell, like likely safe.
Very much so.
I don't even really know, like it's just a gut feeling, but also because they have the supernatural fandom who are excited for the show. And it's just, I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if they got an early renewal in this new era, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the only shows that feels completely safe, definitely. And again, like you said, the established fan base is there.
And then when it comes to shows in development, which they're at least the ones that hit the news, because the CW has like a vault of shows in development that they just stopped talking about. But Babylon 5 is likely safe because that will get an older audience. Justice U, likely safe. Powerpuff, dead on arrival. Like it's no.
We have no faith.
Like not in this Nexstar era. They're done.
No, it belongs to a bygone era.
And then Zorro is up in the air. I don't really know about, personally, I don't know about that one. I mean, it's IP, it's recognizable IP, but it's also gender swapped, which might be an issue for Nexstar. And it would be another Western. And
That's
they
it.
have two.
That's it. So much about it feels like, I keep saying that, like what Nexstar's vision of CW would want. As soon as Nexstar released that statement, everybody was like, oh, Walker's safe. So I feel like that could work in Zorro's favor because of what the established IP it is. It could appeal to a similar audience. But a lot about the Zorro reboot sounded to me like a very modern CW show, and it excited me in the same way that, say, Batwoman excited me. It excited me in the same way that, say, Supergirl excited me. And we don't have those shows anymore. So if they didn't make it into this era, will the new Zorro make it into this era?
I don't
Questions that
know.
need
I hope
answers.
so. I know. In any case, I mean, guys, do you think we're going to be on this ride for like the next 2 years until we stabilize when it comes to the CW?
Yeah, we're not going to know what's happening for a hot minute.
Same, yeah. Yep, totally agree. All up in the air.
Like being in limbo. It is absolutely the worst.